Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 24/7. My name is Niharika Bhatnagar, and I am with you with the specific area of our 10 minutes show on our YouTube channel JIB CIB English Medium. Everybody, good evening, and let's begin with the particular topic that we are talking about today. Acha, what's the topic that we are here for? The particular topic that I've taken up for today is the particular topic I'm going to talk about is the topic of lease and its types. Acha, what do you mean by lease, everyone? Basically, now everyone, is it possible that we can have the funds as much as we want? If I really good, I need a good amount of funds for myself. Is it really feasible that I can have all the kind of assets I've been looking forward to? Practically, I won't agree upon this. To be very honest, it is not possible for any organization to have all the funds at all the time. है ना, sometimes your funds can definitely fall short, and when it falls short, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to sit there and or you are going to arrange that particular asset for yourself in a different way? There is no harm in arranging that particular asset in a different way, for sure, na? So what will you do? You can take that particular asset on a kind of rental area, है ना? So in this case you can have it for the entire life of that asset, or maybe for a small time, for a shorter time span. That is why when we talk about the leases in our book, they have given very limited types of leases. So I'm going to talk about the basic types of leases today. Lease is what? It's basically a contractual agreement between two parties where one party, who is called the lessor, will give the will give the particular asset on a kind of rent to the other party. That means for using that particular asset, that is right to use of that specific asset, that too for a specific period. If it is longer period, then the kind of lease is different. When it's a shorter period, then obviously the lease would be different. That is how we define the specific area. Done. So this is the particular topic. So we're going to talk about lease, where there are two people involved, lessor and lessee. And everyone, if I take a specific area on discount, what will I do? If I take a specific area, a specific asset on discount, then there is one particular thing that for sure I have to do is, that is, if I take that specific asset on discount, on lease there, then the most important thing is, if you take an asset on lease, then you will have to pay lease rental. Nothing is for free in this world, right? Not even the lease. Especially in the businesses, it is hard to find anything which is definitely absolutely free. So what do we talk about lease there? Lease can be defined as what? Lease is basically a legal contract which an owner, the lessor, grants to use. You're giving your right to use to someone else, not the ownership, to someone else. This allows the lessee to use asset for a specific period of time. Done. So here comes the lease, everyone. How do we define the lease? I think in terms of lease, one of the coolest parts that you can see is there is a flexibility. See, technology is changing every single day. If I buy a particular latest technology thing, there's one particular problem that I might face. What if? What if the particular thing that I have got is out of date, है ना? It is out, it has become outdated. It is basically something which is of an older quality. I needed a new one, so I didn't really look forward to it. That can be a trouble. So what do they say? You then I'll take it on a kind of rental. So once the particular technology becomes old, I'll get the new one on rent. So in this case, I won't have the problems. And in fact, do you know, there are two kinds of leases further, where in one lease you will have to do the maintenance, and in the other lease it is the owner who will do the maintenance, while the person who has taken the particular lease on rent will not face a problem. That's how we define the specific area of lease. Okay, everyone, when we talk about the lease, it is basically a business and individuals who need to access the assets like the equipment, property, but without purchasing them outright. You're not going to purchase those things right away. So in this case, this is to provide flexibility and cost control. This particular thing helps us to invest only in the asset when it is worthy. If it's not worthy, then we are not putting our money into that area at all. Then we have flexibility is more in this area because you can sell the asset, dispose the asset, or you can leave that particular maintenance part on someone else. You're not gonna do it. Then comes under cost control. Yes, you can control your costs through this. And again, tax advantages. You can cry in front of the income tax department that, hi, I am using this particular asset, and because of that, I pay lease rental. This rental is something you can define as what? This lease rental is basically a specific expense. So expense reduces your profit. So less profit, less tax. Okay, based upon this, one of the two important areas, two different types of leases which are covered here is operating lease and financial lease. Operating lease means the kind of lease under which we say it is for a shorter period. How do we say shorter period, everyone? The total time period for which the particular lease has been created is for, say, lease is for, the life of the asset is 10 years, and we are using the particular asset for 2 years only. That means not a very significant part of that life of that asset we are using it, right? That part is clear to you? If I'm using an asset for a period which is lesser than its entire life, then it is operating lease. Operating lease means the lease in which we are talking about a short-term lease in which we are the lessor retains the ownership. The ownership is still mine. If I'm giving you that particular asset on lease, then ownership is something I'm not transferring. But yes, I'm giving the particular asset to use, for to right to use, but possession can be given to you while the ownership remains with me. Financing lease are long-term leases in which we talk about the significant life of the asset is with the particular person who's actually using it. That means the lessee. And yes, it can happen that by the end of that particular time period, the particular person can also shift the ownership from the lessor to the lessee. So we have two people involved there. That is lessor, the one who owns the particular asset, and lessee, to whom that asset is actually given on rental basis. Operating lease, I think this is a good way. Shorter periods, if the technology is changing a lot, then you should definitely have an operating lease. It brings up the flexibility, you have lesser cost, and yeah, you don't have any maintenance. But there are three problems. First of all, limited tax benefits. You can just take an expense of the lease rent you pay. So you lose on or lose the particular benefit of depreciation here. है ना? Then you don't have the ownership. Ownership is with someone else, and he can decide to cancel the lease. If he wants to, just a minor compensation has to be paid, and this has to be done with higher long-term costs. Yes, because you are not getting any benefit out of it. You just are paying for the machinery or the asset that you are using. In terms of financial lease, I think that's a long-term lease that you look forward to. And yes, it is more structured like a loan. So for 10 years, you keep on paying the for lease, and after the end of 10 years, that particular asset can be yours. So that is what they talk about in this case. Everyone done? When we talk about the financial lease, it is basically a lease for a short term, long term basis actually, in which we talk about the lessee selects the asset, uses it for a good amount of time, and gets that asset by the end of the lease. So that's how we talk about the basic types of leases, operating and financial lease. I'll be meeting in the next session. Keep on preparing. Thank you so much.